What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the Network Podcast. This is episode 16, and this is actually going to be our final episode of season 1. And later in the episode, we're going to explain more why this is our final episode of the season, what we're going to do going forward, what we're going to do in the next season, and all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. As always, my name is Sebastiano Villano, and Joe is back from Florida.
What's going on, guys? Yep, finally back. A good month off, but back to the grind.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about your trip to Florida later. Right now, let's just get into our overrated and underrated section. As always, we have today we've got 5 for you guys, and as always, look to our Instagram for our polls when this comes out. So number 1, we have travel pillows. Joe, travel pillows, overrated or underrated?
Travel pillows. I'd go underrated. I don't have my own, but I used to use my dad's, and he has a pretty comfy travel pillow, and especially on the planes and stuff, I fall right to sleep,
All right, well, I put it there because I personally think they're overrated. When I first got mine, I used to love them. When I first got mine, I thought it was like the best gift ever. I mentioned on the podcast, I recently traveled to San Francisco, and I thought it would just be so easy. Like I could turn it around for whatever angle that I wanted to lay on, if I wanted just to prop my head up or lean back. And I could not rotate it to get it where it felt comfortable for me. I don't know if there's something wrong with my pillow, if there's something wrong with my neck, if there's something wrong with my head or whatever. But I just did not find them as comfortable as I thought. And I was pretty disappointed by that. So personally, I'm going to go with overrated, mainly for my past experience, but maybe mine's just the wrong size for me.
Well, I'd usually just sleep in mine, so I wasn't rotating my neck too much.
No, but it was like I was trying to find like a comfortable position. So I tried to like rotate the pillow, because you know how it's a different thickness everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to go on my side. I'm like, that kind of feels like I'm still reaching too far with my neck. I tried to put it in front so I could just like lean my chin down, but that still wasn't that comfortable. I couldn't find a comfortable position, and it was so useless. The only good thing was if I was like on my phone or on my Switch on the plane, I put it on my tray, and then I put my pillow on it, so then my hands were higher, so I didn't have to look down as much to go on my phone. But besides that, yeah, it was kind of more annoying than anything. So we're going to disagree with that one. Let's go into number 2. I feel like you're probably going to have a more passionate opinion, and you can talk more about this, but cruises. What do you think about cruises? Overrated or underrated?
Well, have you ever been on a cruise?
No, I have not. The closest thing I've been on is just, I think it might be classified as a ferry. It's just to get to Sardinia in Italy. I think we had to go around Naples, drive our car on a boat, and then it was probably like 16 hours maybe. We had like our own little room that we stayed overnight, but it wasn't like anything luxurious like the ones that I've seen in commercials or the ones that I hope to go on. But I know,
Gotcha.
How many cruises have you been on?
A couple. I've been on a couple. Probably like 4 or 5.
All right, so overrated or underrated, and just how have your experiences been on them?
I've been on 2 Norwegians, and the rest were Disney. And I have to say, cruises are like 10 times better if you have people that you know on them. Maybe that's just because I'm antisocial and didn't talk to too many people on the cruise when I was by myself. But like when you go with your friends or something like that, it's so much fun. I just remember having a blast when I was, I haven't been on one in a bit because of COVID, and I don't think I went on one in the later part of high school, but we used to go with friends from hockey, and I just remember having a blast, just hanging out with them every day and stuff, and a cruise is underrated for sure.
So what would you usually do on one? Like a Disney cruise, where do you get it? Where does it go? Like what do you do on the boat? 'Cause I don't really know too much about them.
Well, Disney has their own private island they take you to. So, it depends. All of them are different. I know one of them we stopped in, what's that place? Like, we go down to the Bahamas.
Well, where'd you get the cruise? In Florida? Like, where'd you get on
Florida.
the cruise?
Yeah, Florida. And, I think one we got on New York and went down to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, like, what'd you just do on it? What was like your general day-to-day stuff? How long were you on the boat? Just stuff like that.
There was like always stuff to do. There's always activities on it. My more recent ones were the Norwegian one. There was this like ropes course on top of the boat that you could go on, and like you were strapped in by a harness, but you could like walk out over the edge of the boat. I remember that was cool. And they have like movie theaters on the boat, and buffets are nice, you know. But they got everything.
How long were you on the boat for, like, at a time?
I think our longest one is a week. Or
Okay.
maybe like 5 days. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Yeah, so personally, I've never been on one, but I just remember when I was younger, especially seeing all the advertisements for them on, like, Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and how cool they looked. I always wanted to go on one. And maybe I might be a little too old for a Disney cruise now, but just any type of cruise I'd like to go on at some point. Even though I haven't experienced it myself, just from what I've heard and what I've seen, I'm going to go with underrated as well, especially after your convincing argument. Mm-hmm. So that one we'll agree on. I think we'll agree on this next one too. It is a little bit similar. But number 3, we have theme parks.
All right, you go first here.
I'm going to go underrated. I feel like compared to people our age, I really have not gone to theme parks a lot. I've been to Dorney twice, I believe. I've been to Hershey a few times, but when I went, I was kind of a couple times I was too young to ride the rides. Then I think one year I just didn't want to. I think that was in 6th grade. Then one year I had a concussion, like not too long before, so I had to be careful what rides I went on. And then the other year, I think I was with people that didn't really want to go on roller coasters. So with Hershey, I definitely want to go back there and ride pretty much all the roller coasters. I think I really only went on Lightning Racer. And then I've been to Six Flags twice, which that was like I was old enough to go on roller coasters. I went with you once, and you convinced me to go on King to Ka and then go front row King to Ka. So that was a lot of fun. We didn't get to get on too many rides that day, but I think overall, like even as you get a little bit older, it's still a lot of fun. So I'm definitely gonna have to go with underrated, but I like to experience a few more parks and just some of the rides for the parks that I've been to.
You know, if I'm gonna be honest, if I disclude Disney from theme parks, they would be overrated.
Really? But Disney, you can't disclude Disney from theme parks.
It's completely different from a normal theme park, though. You know what I'm saying? Like you almost couldn't compare Great Adventure, Dorney, Hershey to a Disney.
Well, I feel like you can't even. I mean, I guess you can compare those 3, but I feel like Six Flags, Great Adventure is a lot better than Dorney, and whether like I don't know, maybe Great Adventure might have better rides, but I've never been to Disney, but I guess like Hershey, there's kind of like a theme for the park, and it kind of adds that extra something special, like even when you're in the area. So I kind of like that aspect a little bit more. Is that kind of what Disney adds, especially?
Yeah, I'd say Hershey's the closest out of the 3 to Disney, but Disney's more family, even like I guess child oriented. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you won't find like a huge roller coaster at Disney, you know. It's not and it's not that I do like huge roller coasters, but you also find a different breed of people at each kind of park, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
I kind of know what
Disney
you're saying.
almost prices out the teenagers or the teenage, you know, the teenage groups,
the teenagers that go
adventure.
Alone, like at Six Flags at Dorney,
exactly.
you see like groups of kids that'll go alone.
And you know, those are the kids that are cutting lines and almost make it kind of, you know, a more trashy experience in a way. That's just how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As I said, I've never been to Disney, but I feel like it would be really cool to go. I hopefully I'll go within the next few years. Hopefully the Disney expert, I'll go with Joe and some of our other friends so that that we can kind of get the full experience. But yeah, I feel like I kind of like the idea that there's a theme. It kind of adds that extra aspect. And even though you said it's kid oriented, I know plenty of people our age or older that go because just the nostalgic factor. And it's not even all like the nostalgic factor. Some people think Disney, they think, oh, Mickey Mouse, all that. But there's also like, you could probably talk about that better. They have like Marvel rides now and stuff and more.
Yeah. I mean, a huge reason why I like Disney so much is because of the nostalgia and just like how happy I would be as a kid going into Disney and just all the, fond memories I have of it now. So like I could definitely see it being different for like, a 18, 19-year-old to go for their first time. They'd be like, oh,
like me.
Like, yeah, I could definitely see him going and being like, oh, this wasn't quite as great as I imagined.
Like Matt.
Yes, like Matt.
Yeah, but
it's how you look at it, I guess. And
wait, so what are the ones in Florida? Disney World or Disneyland, and then Universal, or is there a third one that's in Florida?
SeaWorld's in Florida too, I guess if you wanna.
And then which is it? Disney World or Disneyland?
Disney World's in Florida.
And then so is Universal.
And I think there's multiple Universals too.
Oh, so what do you like? Do you always go?
Okay, so Universal you could compare to a Great Adventure. But
really?
More themed. Yeah, for sure. I'd say Universal is like the balance between a Disney and a Great Adventure.
I always kind of confuse them. 'Cause Disney World, or I don't really know what's there. I kind of think Mickey Mouse, even though I know that there's more than that. And like like Epcot and Avatar has that stuff there. But then with Universal, the only thing I really think about is Harry Potter. So what else is in like Universal and stuff like that?
Universal has 2 parks there. They've got Islands of Adventure. That's the newer park. I think that was open in like 2001, and their older park. But there's more roller coasters, or I guess older people rides in Universal, and you'll find that same type of crowd that you find in Great Adventure in Universal, or more so.
What type of movies are like the themes besides Harry Potter? I know
they also have a Marvel land because they had the rights to Marvel before Disney bought them.
Okay.
So they have their own Marvel land. They got like Jurassic Park, all that stuff. They got a cool land for that. Harry Potter, like they got a Dr. Seuss land, but that's more for kids. The Simpsons, Men in Black. I'm trying to think here.
That's it. But there's no like Disney and Universal aren't related at all.
No.
Oh, okay. All right, I don't know why. I kind of always thought that they were. I feel like people just always, especially coming from our area, they always just couple it together and go to the 2.
I mean, they're very close to each other.
Yeah, that's probably why I always couple them
like
together.
we almost always go to both of them, like when we go down on trips. So that's.
I feel like almost everyone goes to both of them. Like I see someone in Disney World, and then you see them like posting Harry Potter World with like the butterbeer or something like that. Anyway, after that long conversation, we're both gonna stick with underrated. Number 4, we've got AirPods, which. I can go first on this one. I'm going to go underrated. I remember when they first came out and literally everyone was making fun of them. They thought, oh, they're so easy to get lost. It looks so stupid. It's just like a little stem coming out of your ear and just like all that stuff. But kind of slowly, like that's kind of like with all new things. People criticize it at first. They don't like change, and then as more people get them, it kind of becomes more normal. And I got them for my birthday a couple years back, and honestly I use them I think every single day. Probably one of the best gifts, or like the most useful gift I've ever gotten. So I'm going to definitely say they're underrated, especially because of their early criticism.
Do they ever hurt your ears?
No.
Really?
Why do they hurt your ears?
After I wear them for a while, I find that they're uncomfortable.
Because the only issue I have, sorry to cut you off, but the only issue I have with AirPods is really just like if I'm laying down on my ear, then like it hurts. But like if I just take it out and only have one in, and speaking of my ears hurting, even like I also used to have the Bluetooth, the Beats, and I feel like after a while those would actually hurt my ears, and like over the head headphones, those would kind of hurt my ears after a while. Actually, I don't know why, but
I kind of get it. Like for both of them, like I'm wearing the Beats right now, and after a while, they won't hurt, but they'll irritate me, I guess.
yeah.
Same with the AirPods. And it's actually more with the new AirPods than the old AirPods. The old AirPods, do you have the old ones or the new ones?
I have the old ones.
I like those. I actually like those better. Even though with the new ones, they've got like 3 different sizes. None of them quite fit my ears. I remember actually, was it Mr. Fausti talking about this? And none of them fit his ears. And I was like, there's no way none of them can fit your ears. And like, yeah, none of them actually fit my ears.
I don't know if
he returned them.
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, I said I remember he ended up returning them, and like I just use my old ones still. Like I've got the new ones. I don't even use them.
Yeah. If people that don't know what we're talking about, to try and describe it a little bit more, I'm sure you guys all know what AirPods is, but some headphones have had these before. They have like a little detachable piece. It's like a little rubber piece that goes kind of in the innermost part of your ear, and you can kind of switch that out for whatever size fits the best. I mean, hopefully you guys know what we're talking about because it's kind of hard to explain. But I do remember a pair of headphones that I had that kind of part, and I had the same issue. Like, I don't remember which pair of headphones it was. It might have been the other Bluetooth Beats, like the power Beats with like that they're connected, but it goes like behind your head. I had those for a while, and for some reason I had that issue where it kept falling out of my ear, and I tried all the different sizes, and I couldn't get one that fit. It was extremely annoying to me. So I haven't used the new Beats and the new AirPods, and I know they have like some noise cancellation things and stuff like that, but I'm perfectly satisfied with the old ones, and I do find like that little changeable rubber piece slightly annoying from my experience.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say that's nicer about the new ones is the noise canceling. That's because it is noticeable. It's noticeably different than the old ones, and it just almost like the Beats. You ever had the Studio Beats where once you put them on, it like blanks out the sound. I think the new AirPods do that too, and it's I like that feature.
Yeah, I think that does sound nice, but I usually have my music loud to drown everything out. Maybe that's bad for my ears. Probably is. But I usually just have it loud enough where I can't hear like the background stuff. But I don't remember if you said, are you going with underrated overall for AirPods?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to have to agree. And the last thing we have for overrated or underrated today is Florida, which will tie into your trip and just how that was. So just like a little brief thing, overrated or underrated for Florida.
Florida, it's tough. I don't know how brief I could put it, but
sorry. The only reason I said brief, I should go first because I don't have much to say about Florida. I've never been.
You've never been to Florida?
I've never been to Florida. I haven't really explored the U.S. that much at all. I've been like a few places in the Northeast, like city-wise, like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., like briefly, kind of all those in the Northeast. Then I've been to the Outer Banks in North Carolina a couple times, Asheville, North Carolina. And besides that, the furthest west I've been is Hershey, Pennsylvania, I think, until I went to San Francisco a few weeks ago. So the U.S. haven't really explored too much. Florida, I feel like you can speak on this more. I feel like on social media it does get a little bit of a bad rep, but I feel like that might be in my head a little too much because I really have no desire to go to Florida unless maybe seeing Disney or Universal, because even their main attraction is the beaches, and this summer I feel like I'm learning more and more that I don't really like the beach, especially being it's so hot, being in the sun. We talked about the beach before. I think I might have put it as underrated. I can't remember. But
I love the beach, yeah.
I did put it as underrated, but I'm changing my mind to overrated now, especially because I hate being in the sun for a prolonged amount of time after my sunburn incident last year, and then it's just hot, it's annoying, you have to go in the water to cool down. I kind of find it a pain. Anyway, you have a lot more experience with Florida, Joe. Are you going overrated or underrated?
Florida, I'm torn because, you know, before my trip, I would really only go down for Disney. And I'm not putting Disney as overrated, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the rest of Florida, there are, like, it's just a different breed of people down there. There are some backwards weirdos in Florida.
Is it kind of like how it's painted on social media?
Yeah, no, it actually is. Like, that you find, I don't know if it's everywhere in the South, but dude, we're driving and you're driving past like Confederate flags and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some weirdos down there. You'd walk into like a supermarket and there would be dudes with no shoes, no shirts, just walking around and like there are some strange people down there. I'm not gonna lie. There were a lot of weirdos down there.
Yeah, we don't want you to go too in detail in case you offend some people, but I kind of get the picture that you're painting for us.
Florida's I don't know. It's a different breed of people, I guess. Definitely different from up north here, just the people you'll find. But like heat wise, it's if you like the heat, I guess you'd like it there. I'm not a huge fan of it, and it's just super hot, and then it'll rain for like a couple hours, and then it's super hot again, and so.
Yeah, that's another thing I've learned this summer, as well as not really liking the beach. I feel like the heat I just don't like.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. Even like going to San Francisco for a week, having it like not even touch 70 really. I was like, as long as it's sunny occasionally, this weather is perfect. Like, maybe if it was like that for the whole year, I would think differently, because I know a lot of people talk about experiencing the 4 seasons. I don't really know if I'd miss that, but that kind of made me think like, dang, would it really be that bad if it was between kind of like 40 to 70 the whole year round? But yeah, the heat is definitely the main thing why I don't have that much intentions of going to Florida.
Yeah. The beaches are nice in Florida. The water is much clearer than the Jersey Shore, especially down in the Keys and stuff. So that's cool. But
you had a run-in with a gator, didn't you?
I did. We kayaked with alligators and manatees, and there was a gator that popped its head like, gotta be like 20 feet away from our kayak. And we were trying to find it again, but it went underwater.
You lost it until it flips your kayak over.
Yeah, exactly.
So besides Disney, and you kind of said you like Key West, how were the other parts? I know you went to Miami. Like, what other parts did you go to, and did you like them? Did you not like them?
Miami was nice.
What about Miami?
Zach got a good pumping on the beach. You should have seen it. Yeah. They got the outdoor gyms and whatnot.
The outdoor what?
The outdoor gyms.
On
the Miami Strip, the little Miami, I forget what you call it.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
You know, where you see the Art Deco stuff.
Yeah.
That was cool. And then we went to the Gulf side, which was all right. That's where Tampa is and stuff. And that was all right. I like Miami the best. Probably Miami the best. Then Key West was cool too.
All right, so anything else about Florida? You're gonna stick with underrated because of Disney, but as a whole,
I don't know. They're lucky they got Disney carrying them on our backs, because that's an overrated for sure. If Disney wasn't there, but yeah, I'd have to go underrated.
All right, so that covers our overrated / underrated. Joe, is there anything else that you want to talk about your trip to Florida, or did you cover everything?
No, that about covered it.
All right, so the one thing I want to talk about before we talk about the future of the podcast is just a question I was kind of thinking about earlier, and we started discussing it a little bit, but I wanted to save it for the podcast. What do you think is the best age to have been throughout the pandemic? And I know we are still kind of in the pandemic. It looked like we were kind of reaching towards the end. Now the Delta variant hopefully will be kind of fully out of it or return to a normal sooner rather than later. But just in general, it's kind of been like a year and a half to 2 years. What do you think is the best age?
I think the best age is, now that I think about it, it could be like 1 to like 3. You know, nothing would really change. But if we're talking about like when we're actually
kind of more aware.
Yeah,
and, like,
more aware.
older.
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough.
I can share some of my thoughts. The reason I was thinking about this is because if people always say like, oh man, you missed your senior year during the pandemic, and like now I missed my first year of college. That was all online. Like that really sucked. And I was like, yeah, it does suck. But then I'm trying to think of like other years, kind of the seniors below us. They pretty much missed their whole year of high school. I mean, they returned in person at the end, but one, it wasn't the same. They got like to experience some of the football games and stuff, which is fun, but I think that was limited capacity. I think they ended up having a prom at the end. They ended up having a regular graduation. So I feel like they did get to experience more than us. And I feel like I didn't experience it, but I feel like junior year was kind of stressful. So for that to be online actually would have been pretty nice. And now they're getting it. Now there kind of seems like college is, for a lot of them, are getting back to normal. So maybe a year below us would have kind of been the best to miss high school or just to live in the pandemic. But then I was kind of thinking,
you think the year before us would be the best?
I didn't think about that initially. I feel like maybe they did miss a little too much out on senior year, actually.
I thought it would be the worst.
You think that's worse than us? Because we missed the end of senior year and then like the first year of college.
That's true, but that's true.
Because I was trying to think about like, yeah, the beginning of senior. All right, what did they miss? They missed the end of junior year, which maybe like junior prom, but junior year's a little bit stressful. We kind of went online mid-March to April, and I feel like maybe that could have relieved some of the stress because at least maybe just because we were seniors, but the classes were not nearly as serious. And then beginning of senior year, there's not too much going on. There is some stuff here and there that they did miss out on, like the senior dinner cruise, maybe some of their sports. But they still got a prom, they still got a graduation and stuff like that, which we missed out on. So they didn't miss out on like the best of the best for senior year. And they also, it seems like they're all going to college in the fall.
I mean, missing out on prom was just a bonus for me. Was, you know, any social event, that was just, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't too bummed about that one either. Like, yeah, maybe it would have been fun. I feel like it kind of would have been overhyped, and I was like,
save a lot of rejection. Let me tell you.
Hey boys, let me tell you, the girls were lining up for me, but luckily I didn't have to say no to any of them because it got canceled, so they're lost. But anyway, besides that year, I was kind of thinking everyone kind of younger than us, beginning of high school, like you would have missed out on too much high school. I feel like the beginning's important, maybe sophomore to junior year, but still that's really important time. And anything younger than that, I feel like middle school was a really good time. That's where like you meet a lot of new people. You get to go on field trips, which is what I miss the most about high school. And it's also, as well as elementary school, it's really important developmentally for kids, I feel like. And just socializing with others, learning how to do that, just like being in the real world and stuff like that. I feel like in elementary school, I would have found it extremely difficult to be online. So I feel like that was that would have been pretty difficult. And then I was looking at older than us. Yeah, like people feel bad for us for missing our senior year, but I feel like senior year of college would have been even worse, and possibly trying to get a job in the pandemic could have been pretty difficult depending on your field. And older than that, like you're kind of trying to look at your future more. You could have been laid off. I don't know.
Oh.
I think the year below us might have been the best age for a pandemic.
That's I don't know if I agree with that.
What are you thinking? Because I'm trying to think of years later down the line.
I think elementary or middle school. I think elementary or middle school for sure. Middle school.
Why is that?
Not that because middle school. Not that it doesn't matter a ton. But it's just this weird period where your grades don't really matter, because I guess they kind of decide some classes in high school, but it's not to the degree of high school grades to colleges.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you lose almost all your friends from middle school to high school anyways, you know what I'm saying? So like, you'd end up finding a new friend group in high school anyways if you did miss middle school. And I feel like that was one of the least important sections of my school years, at least.
That's true. I think I might just put this on our story when this goes out to see what you guys think. I said the year below us. I'm really not convinced on that answer. With middle school, what I was kind of thinking about is not only just field trips. I feel like that was kind of the last time. Like, even though we had a ton of fun in high school, I feel like it was a little bit different. Like, in middle school, you could have fun and not really have to worry about, like, anything else. There weren't really any other stress factors and stuff like that. It was just like, you'd be hanging out with your friends. You didn't even think about anything else.
That's true.
And now it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I got to hang out. Oh, I got to make sure that I do this homework. I got to get home to do my chores. I got to do this. I feel like we have a lot more responsibility now. And while we can still hang out with our friends and it'd be a lot of fun, but I feel like, I don't want to spend that much money because I'm going to college and I'm going to have to live by myself. Or, if I go, I'm going to have to pay for gas and stuff like that. Like, those are some of the things that I think about going out now and going out like the past couple years, which I never would have thought about that in middle school.
That's true.
Anyway, I think we're just going to end the discussion there. I said the year younger than me, but then, like, even later in life, I don't know.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, especially because if you're like older than 50, it's extremely dangerous because you're older. Your immune system is probably more at risk, which isn't great. Even though you may not have as much going on in your life. And then you probably have family of your own that you want to experience things with. And I said high school and school is stressful. I'm sure your job is stressful. And being at home, not being able to, like, release some of that stress is probably worse. So I think that's where I'm going to go with. We're going to put this on our story, Joe, if you can just remind me to see what you guys think. Because I'm interested what our listeners have to think about that. So that was really the second to last topic that we were going to talk about. The last thing I wanted to talk about is just the future of the podcast. So this, I'm going to put that this is the end of season 1. The next episodes are going to be the start of season 2. We are going to have a little bit of a break. I don't know exactly how long that's going to be. But what we both kind of want to move into is interviewing people. Because, we've had some decent topics here and there with, like, sports, TV, movies, music, all that stuff. But I feel like with some of our random episodes, they weren't as structured. Some of them were better than others, and it's kind of difficult to keep coming up with topics. So I feel like if we interview people, it kind of keeps it fresh every episode, and you get an insight into some other people's lives, some other people's stories, because you've heard a lot from us within 16 episodes. So for that, that's going to be, like, sometimes I'm just going to be interviewing them. If Joe knows them, like, we keep mentioning Josh Fausti. I did message him. He's currently enjoying his life in Italy. So when he comes back, hopefully that'll be our first episode of season 2 with Joe. If Joe knows the guest, he'll be here for sure. I might have a different co-host depending on who that is. Fingers crossed. Everything should be good for us to have face cam with on season 2. The YouTube channel is set up. I did post on our Instagram, and the link is in our bio there. If you click the link in our bio, you can see links for everything. I made a LinkedIn. We have a YouTube, listening on Apple Podcasts, our Instagram account, listening on Spotify. All that stuff can be found in our bio. And besides that, yeah, we're really just going to move into interviewing people. And with season 2, I said we're going to go on a break. I don't know how long because I'm going to Spain next week. And then I kind of got to I'll be moving to Philadelphia for the foreseeable future, working. I don't know how recording is going to work exactly. So we have to figure some of that out. But we're going to try and record some episodes. And then once we have maybe like a few stacked up and we can actually make a schedule for recording, then we'll start releasing them. Joe, anything you have to add to that?
No, yeah, just move into more interviews and kind of running out of topics as we've gone over a lot of big ones, and trying to find more interesting things to talk about has become harder for us. So
Yeah. And from like a listener point of view, like if we're not even like that thrilled to do an episode, like it's with now, like sometimes it's kind of a drag, like, oh, we want to do a random one that we don't know what to talk about. We know it'll probably come off and you guys probably won't be as interested if we aren't as interested. So I think interviewing is a way to keep it fresh. There'll always be topics to talk about and you'll always get a new perspective every episode. Maybe we'll do a couple here and there of just me and Joe, like if it's been a long time, just an update or something like that. But that's kind of what we're going to be doing going forward. Any final remarks, Joe?
No, that about covered it.
All right, guys. Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for all the support throughout season 1 and these 16 episodes. Hopefully, we can continue this in season 2 and start to grow a lot more. For any updates, look on our Instagram. Follow us on LinkedIn, as I did mention earlier. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is in the link to our Instagram. The link on our Instagram bio. And as always, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.